When you think of experimental cinema, you most likely think of French directors, Truffaut, Demy, Varda, and the subject of today's film, Jean-Luc Godard. Famous for his experimental style and abstract commentary, there's no shortage of that in today's film, First Name Carmen. A film which, on the offset, seems like a straightforward story of young love, though really if this was young love, then a pile of dead fish is a gourmet meal. But it's actually a complex collection of poetry and philosophical waxing woven together into a narrative.
Je n'ai pas fait d'études, mais je sais aussi que le monde n'appartient pas aux innocents. Si on peut, on continuera. Je n'ai pas peur, mais c'est parce que je n'ai jamais pu m'attacher. Allez, je me dépêche. À tout à l'heure. C'est elle qui ne devrait pas s'appeler Carmen.
The story follows a young woman named Carmen, I would imagine so, who wants to make a film with her friends, but in reality is staging a kidnapping of a millionaire. Alongside this film, you have a washed-up filmmaker, played by Godard, not meta in the slightest, and a string quartet playing public domain Beethoven, who all ultimately converge at the end. Frequently, the film cuts back to shots of the ocean, or to this string quartet. I initially thought the shots of the ocean were a way to convey the characters' emotions with the roughness of the waves, but it's also the characters reminiscing on more innocent times, looking out into the ocean at your uncle's beach house, as well as some not-so-innocent times with your uncle. Hey, it's New Wave French, so of course there's taboo sex topics. While this film does ultimately have a narrative connection that is gotten through with a tangible plot, it doesn't get there in a linear way. Which brings me to the difference between experimental and innovative filmmaking. Experimental filmmaking, I would say, is a film that doesn't concern itself with a straightforward three-act structure told in a linear way. The difference between experimental and innovative is new ways to tell a story with maybe even new technology. Experimental, on the other hand, eschews the traditional narrative structure of most mainstream cinema. A movie like Doctor Strange may have reality-bending technology, but it has a fairly traditional plot progression still. And in that sense, Carmen falls into that category, telling its story through three disparate elements that only have a tangential connection. This movie very much is about the video age, as the 80s and the decade before it was very much about auteurs with unique visions for things. Bygone is the age of giant budget-breaking epics, and along comes a new wave of mainstream auteurism. It is this idea of filming a movie that is used as the film's main cover-up for what goes down. By no means do these characters act rationally, or even come off like they stop to think for a second. And just look at the bank robbery. Their cover-up is just filming the security guard, but then they say screw it and just go in guns blazing and kill random people, some of which don't seem too bothered by active gunfire. The bank robbery results in people dying, and somehow an inept security guard automatically ruins his life for a hot woman. Okay, maybe that's not unrealistic, but I'd like to think that the custodian wouldn't just mop around dead bodies like it was your typical Tuesday. The film is definitely an absurdist film with deliberately horrid depictions of its star-crossed lovers, one of which is self-assured and manipulative, and the other is depraved in all senses of the word. I can't even describe it without getting demonetized, but there's a lot of, San Antonio going on here. In reality, this relationship would have gone the way of the dodo in 2 seconds. At least I like to think so. Throughout the movie, we keep cutting back to a string quartet, seemingly unrelated, but it is quickly revealed that this is very much connected tangentially. The sound of the quartet then plays over the actual movie. By the end, they are finally in the same room as the main characters. This way, the soundtrack of the movie is shown to be completely diegetic, aka the source of the sound is actually visible in the movie, and the music reflects in real time what we're seeing. Whether the players are speeding up to match the pace of the action or are meant to show more emotion, it, like the ocean, are ways of showing the characters' emotions without deliberately stating it in any obvious sense. It's a way of adding to the film's chaotic nature by having one of the sources of the chaos front and center with the rest of the film. Now, this movie is confusing in its structure, and how it combines everything. But that is the lovely thing about it. The confusing structuring adds to the chaotic nature of it all. Watching the movie, it's clear no one is concerned with doing things in a way that makes sense. All you have to do is look at the ending scene. Carmen is left for dead, and what does she do? Wax philosophical! You know, 'cause she's young, hot, and French, so what else would she be doing? First Name Carmen uses an out-of-order structure to emphasize the chaotic, absurdist nature of it all. It's this very non-traditional way the film is made that makes it such a unique experience. And you can say what you will about how the movie can be out of order, confusing, hell, maybe even pretentious. But I can guarantee you, you certainly won't be forgetting your time with Carmen.